Hello guys, this is Doronsmovies and you're watching the 27th episode of the lore Q&A series. So today I'll be answering some of the questions you guys left on the previous Q&A, and if you'd like to get your questions answered, make sure to put them on the Q&A comment section, YouTube personal messages, or Facebook and Twitter, and also if you send your questions by Facebook and Twitter, I can answer them faster. Anyways, let's start. Sebastian asks, why does the Iron Horde make war against the Draenei on Iron Horde Draenor? Well, that would be one of the aspects of this new timeline, I guess. I mean, we're pretty much coming to Draenor right at the edge of the conflict, so the orcs and the Draenei are kind of in war already, and the conflict is kind of heating up, if you know what I mean. But the only difference is that there is no corrupted blood, no mana rot, no kill Jaden corruption, because Garrosh actually stops them from drinking the blood, and Garrosh will be the one who made the Iron Horde, kind of, and, you know, brought the whole advanced goblin machinery and all these new inventions that kind of, you know, built the Iron Horde, so they're not just warriors, shamans and all of that, and they don't have to rely on like demon blood or whatnot. Now, even though the orcs were really vicious and powerful with the demon curse, I feel like the battle is going to be a lot bigger now with the Iron Horde and Garrosh being one of the main guys in this new horde, because I mean, when you look at Garrosh, he kind of wants to destroy everything he sees, and yeah, I feel like there's gonna be a lot of battle going on in Worlds of Draenor. Especially, you know, with the new alliance and the new horde and the old horde and Garrosh and pretty much everyone in the mix. So yeah, it should be an epic battle going on in the Worlds of Draenor. Alright, next, Dim Slayer asks, how did the dwarf become shamans and what is the lore behind that? Well, when you think about it, I mean, the dwarves were actually descendants, I mean, they are descendants from the Earthren, and they're actually one of the oldest races on Azeroth, and they're actually highly, when you think about it, I mean, they're kind of linked to the elementals, and now in Cataclysm, you know, the Wild Hammer Dwarves joined the alliance. I mean, the Wild Hammer Dwarves are the one with Kurden and Wild Hammer and Falstad and all of these, you know, these cool guys, and as I said, the Wild Hammer Dwarves joined the alliance, and thus we actually got the new shamans in the alliance. However, this isn't really a new addition to lore. I mean, it's not like they just made up dwarf shamans. I mean, that's kind of something they did with the Tauren Paladins. They did make up a story, but it didn't really make too much sense before. But the dwarf shamans were actually in the lore before, and even before World of Warcraft came out, so I mean, it makes a lot of sense. And the Wild Hammer Dwarves never actually officially joined. I mean, they aided the alliance, but they never officially joined the alliance until, you know, Cataclysm. And the Wild Hammer Dwarves are also a bit different to the other dwarves, and you know, they're kind of more primitive and are actually more connected to the earth, and they also have a connection with the griffins. So when you think about it, they are like these, not hippie guys, but you know, kind of these like these linked to the shamans. Yeah, I don't know if that makes any sense, but yeah, kind of like these shamans, like that are connected to the earth and like that care about the earth itself. So the reason, as I said, the reason we have the dwarf shamans in the alliance is because of the recruitment of the Wild Hammer dwarves. Okay, continuing on, Sarah asks, I'm really interested in hearing your opinion on this. Is Illidan Stormrage a villain or just a misunderstood hero? Lore-wise, of course, because in the Burning Crusade, he is the main villain, and I've been reading some comments on this topic lately, and both sides' arguments are pretty good. Well, Illidan is like a really confusing character, and I wouldn't actually say he is a misunderstood hero, but neither is he like this super evil like villain like, for example, Artis was when he became the Lich King, and there is just actually too much story to him to kind of really define him, as the writers like to change the character up a bit, and from what I believe, the character was written by quite a few different writers in the game, in the books and whatnot, so he kind of has like a switching personality. And I feel like he's one of those characters, you know, like those vigilantes. I know he's like a sort of a character that would do really evil things in order to fight off a greater evil, so he wouldn't mind doing something bad in order to defeat something a lot worse. And that isn't really, I mean, good for others, so that is why he's kind of considered bad. And that is exactly one of the things like he did in Warcraft 3 when he tried to kill the Lich King, but on the other hand he did kind of work with Kill Jaden, and also he was trying to like do a lot of damage, and he would actually kill Lich King, but he would damage the world itself. But he didn't really notice that. He didn't really care too much, as he thought that he was doing good by defeating a greater evil. I mean, he also was stronger, and he actually took a lot of demon power in himself. I mean, he bound a lot of demon power to himself with the Skull of Gul'dan and everything, so in order like to be stronger and to help others, well, sort of. But yeah, that is one of those things I kinda said, you know, that he doesn't really care too much about the consequences as long as he gets his things done. Now, in the Burning Crusade though, they kinda made him a complete villain, and they kind of really turned him around, and it was kind of justified that we killed him. And in the Burning Crusade, he wasn't really the same misunderstood hero as he was in Warcraft 3, and you could really say that he was actually a villain instead. So I don't think I can really answer your question like yes or no, as I personally myself, I see him as a misunderstood hero, even though he is kind of considered a villain by a lot of people and in the story or whatnot. Okay, next on. Harry asks, I was wondering about what is the whole story of the Black Dragonflight. Were they always evil? Why did they turn evil? And who leads them now? Well, I'm just gonna go straight off the bat and say that they weren't always evil. They were actually the protectors of the world, and they were led by Neltharion, the Earth Warder, I believe, and he was their leader. And I mean, a lot of people mistake Neltharion and Nefarian because Nefarian is Deathwing's son, and Neltharion is actually Deathwing's real name, and he changed his name after he got corrupted. Now, he actually got corrupted by the old god, I mean their whispers. It is considered that he was corrupted by that old god in the Maelstrom, and he kinda went insane and drove his entire Dragonflight to corruption. And in Cataclysm, we actually did kill Deathwing and we destroyed the entire Black Dragonflight, so there is no Dragonflight like the Black Dragonflight today, or at least, I mean, there are some remains, but it wasn't as it was before. Now, Vrathian, as he's kind of relevant in the story right now, is currently known as the only uncorrupted Black Dragon, and he actually sent people to kill what remain of the Black Dragonflight. I think that's a quest as well, but there is like a video if you want to check that out. There's like a recap of the Legendary Rogue quest on the official World of Warcraft channel, so you can kind of see what happened in that part of the story where he sent like this rogue in order to kill off the remaining Black Dragons and kind of, you know, get rid of the corrupted Black Dragonflight. So after his task, I think the Dragonflight should have been wiped out, but there is some rumors that there are still a few Black Dragons remaining in Dustfall Marsh, or I believe it was mentioned by Jaina or something like that. Okay, next on, Ruler of All Bananas asks, so Kairos brought Garrosh back into an alternate Draenor. Why doesn't Nosdormu do anything about it, since his job is to prevent that kind of a thing? It should be easy for him since Kairos is a Bronze Dragon and Nosdormu is the father of all Bronze Dragon and should be way stronger. Well, most of those events were actually explained in the War Crimes novel by Christy Golden, and actually made a summary video of the War Crimes. You can check that out on my channel. And actually, yes, Nosdormu is the leader of the Bronze Dragonflight, but he doesn't really have the powers of a dragon aspect as he had before. And I mean, he isn't super weak, he still is very powerful, but he isn't just what he used to be, and he is now mortal, so he's kind of just a stronger, you know, regular dragon. So he isn't really, you know, all that powerful as you might think. Plus, it's all kinda happening in secret, and Kairos is actually working for Vrathian himself, and apparently Vrathian said the reason for letting Garrosh go is kind of for, you know, the better of the world. Probably like hinting that sometime in the future there will be like a Burning Legion invasion in the world, and that the current events will kind of interfere with that and kind of help us out in the future, I guess. I mean, that is at least what I understood from that. But yeah, as I said, it all kind of happened behind everyone's back, so no one really expected anything like that coming, and especially not Nosdormu, as, you know, he wasn't really all that involved. Alright, and the last question is by The Epic Nuts, and he asks, I was wondering what are the Ettins and is there any lore to them? Okay, so I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this right. I don't think I've actually heard it in the game said, so I'm just gonna call them Ettins. So if you know any better word, I guess you can say in the comments. But the Ettins are like these ogre-like giants who are mostly based around Eastern Kingdom. I mean, there aren't many of them, and there isn't actually much lore to them. I mean, I don't know any. I know just a bit, but I don't think they're kind of, you know, developed characters. I mean, when you look at them, they kind of look like Grons from Draenor, and it was mentioned that there are some sort of a connection between the ogres and them, so that would kind of make sense, you know, as they kind of look like Grons and they're related to ogres, and the ogres are the descendants from the Grons. So I believe that they were probably captured somewhere around Draenor by the Horde and probably brought as war machines to Azeroth, just like the ogres. So some of them probably survived and are just wandering around the Eastern Kingdom, and I mean, that is just my opinion, but I don't think there is really too much lore behind them, and I feel like they're one of those, you know, those cool creatures. They kind of get a concept artist to design and just add them in the game and give them like this tiny backstory, and aren't really like all that lore related or whatnot. Anyways, that is all I have for now. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. And also you can leave your questions by YouTube personal messages, YouTube comment section, Facebook, and Twitter. Anyways, thanks for watching, and see you next time.